Shooter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 and a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to a World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Welcome to That's a Podcast. Well, that's a Winner Podcast. I'm just messing it up all the way. I am Ryan Jenkins. That is Josh Brown. Welcome to the stream. We're going to have a lot of new people joining us tonight. You can find us now on Twitter and Facebook and all those things. But now Cardinals 24/7 is streaming us live in their groups and on their pages. And we really appreciate that. And Josh, I'll bring you in now and let's break it straight into the last 2 weeks of the season. Last time we were on, it was right before the season started. And we had a prediction of what we thought was going to happen for the Cardinals and going into it. And 2 weeks in, we knew we had a 16-game stretch that we were really, really worried about. The Cardinals.
First 16 games.
Yeah, first 16. And we are now 13 into those games, right?
Yep.
13. And 6 and 7 so far into those first 13. How are you feeling for the first 13 games we knew that stretch was going to be a really difficult way to start the season?
Yeah, we were talking about this, right? It's 6 and 7.
Yep.
Right. Could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think what bums me out about the record right now is the pitching's been much better than I thought it would be. The old man pitching. It's worked so far for the most part. And there's been some games we just gave away. Just the other day we gave away a game, probably maybe would have won 3-2. Not for an early error. Palante giving up some runs. Game before that, you just had some blown, what was that? I think it was Helsley blew his first game of the year, and that extra innings came back. He had the young guys with Mason Wynn, Ivan Herrera. Those guys come back and tie the game for you a few nights ago against the Phillies, and then Helsley blow it late, which for the most part he's been nails this season. So that I think you look at that and it's like, I'm more disappointed by the record because it feels like it should be a winning record if you hadn't thrown some away. But you go in this weekend, you finish these 3 against the Diamondbacks of those 16 games, you win 2-3, and that's an 8-8 record, right? And I think we talked about that before the season. If we had gotten 8-8, we'd probably be over the moon those first 16 games. So you still have a chance for that.
So are you more surprised? And thank you everyone for joining us so far. So there's a chat function. You can send in your comments. It'll pop up for us, and you can have your questions or anything else that you want to say. It'll show up in the side screen for us, and we can get to those, put those on the screen, and have a conversation about those. So please put in those comments and questions or anything like that. But so are you more surprised, and this goes for everyone that wants to chime in as well, are you more surprised that the pitching has done well? Or are you more surprised that the offense has had a struggle?
Definitely more surprised with the offense, right? I think most of us.
I'm the inverse.
Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of called this a little bit. We were talking about, do spring training stats matter and all that. I mean, it wasn't looking great for Arenado and Goldschmidt during spring training. And then Arenado had that first game against LA. I think he went 3 for 4, had a home run. We thought, okay, maybe spring training meant nothing for those guys. They're fine. But these swings we're seeing out of Arenado, he's been having these springs since, late February, early March. They just look off. Those uncomfortable, not on time, no power kind of swings. And it's looking rough for him and Goldie right now. I mean, Arenado hasn't barreled a ball yet. Goldschmidt has, I think 2 extra base hits, or maybe just one. Just that home run.
The home run is his only extra base hit all season.
Just the home run. So you're looking at him. You look up, he's got a 544 OPS,
so
250 slugging, and Arenado's Had some batting average there for a little bit, but no better.
I have
It's not looking good for them too.
I have some guys that like to DM our Twitter and ask, "Hey, what do you think about this?" or "How do you think about that? What do you think is going on?" And this one guy that always likes to ask questions, he asked me in the offseason, he goes, "What are you worried about?" I said, "I'm worried about the offense." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I've been calling it since the offseason that I think that what they have done was put in a good enough pitching staff that it can't go as bad as it did last year, right? Like Michaelis was going to be better. Has pitched really well since the second half, and then they add these three new guys that are just going to pitch better. And any pick one, they're going to be better than Adam Wainwright, right? You just put it all together, they're going to have a better pitching, starting pitching. And then the bullpen was tweaked and improved, and all those things. Like it just wasn't going to repeat, and I still don't think it can repeat anything that happened last season. That like it's just was a blip on the radar. Like it's just really impossible. What I have been saying since the offseason is let's go get another bat. And I knew the St. Louis Cardinals weren't even going to even talk about it because I had said, and I love Tommy Edman, but we should go get a real center fielder because with a bat and a block like the Chicago Cubs from having Belly, and Bellinger could be the Cardinal center fielder and then be able to help out when Goldie needs some rest and play first base because the Cardinals need some offense. That is all coming to fruition of everything that I have said that there's no offense. And I do believe that Goldie is going to come around and Arenado is going to come around. Where you don't know what's going to
They
happen.
better.
They better. What you don't know what's exactly going to happen is what you get out of the young guys.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Walker is not hitting well. He's not hitting line drives. He's not doing
Not hitting the ball in the
not
air.
hitting the ball in
really
the
at
air.
all.
Yeah. Victor Scott has been really good in the field, except the last game where he had a couple of errors, but he's batting like 087.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
And
like,
not hitting the ball particularly hard. It's not like that Alec, what we hear from Alec Burleson all the time.
Right.
Well, he's hitting the ball hard. Victor's not hitting the ball hard, and he's not quite getting those bunts down, or drawing walks, and he's walked a lot in the minors. So, I mean, I give him some leeway because he wasn't supposed to be here.
Right.
He wasn't supposed to be here this
Absolutely.
early at all. And the only reason he is because of 2 outfield injuries, right? But yeah, it's and that's what we talked about. I think that's plays into the disappointment for me with the record. Because if Arenado and Goldschmidt just hit like they hit their whole career,
right.
we're
just
probably
a little.
yeah, we're probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 games over 500. Because a lot of these games that we've lost were, 5-4, 3-2, 2-1, like close. We're in them. It's not like last season where it's felt like, and they've made some noise later in the games.
Yes.
Last season, if
They got
were
down early.
yeah, we'd get down early, and you wouldn't even. There was no point in watching really the rest of the game. You weren't expecting comebacks at all.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Are you more surprised by, let's say, Mason Wynn's offense and Ivan Rodriguez's offense? Or are you more surprised in the success of Steven Matz or Kyle Gibson had one not great game, but like, are you more surprised by Lance Lynn and his success and Steven Matz's success? Or are you more surprised by Wynn, who's been playing really great ball,
Yeah.
and Ivan Rodriguez, who all of a sudden goes, holy smokes, this guy can be a starting catcher right now. Again, it's early, but are you more surprised on which end?
I am least surprised by Herrera, especially with the bat.
Yeah.
Because it's really come along. It came along. If you followed him at all in the minors last year, he was hitting the cover off the ball, like high exit velocity, all that, and then played in whatever the winter ball league was. I don't know if it was Dominican or wherever, but he was tearing that up. And the glove we know has come around.
Right.
That's really what's come around for him catching, which is great. So I'm probably least surprised by him. I would say most surprised right now, honestly, maybe Lynn, because he's not, and this is alarming to me, and we can get into this. At least from what I've seen so far. Now, Sonny Gray's only made 1 start, and I know he can throw a little bit harder, but Steven Matz is like our hardest thrower out of the rotation right now, which is kind of alarming to me. He's the only guy hitting, 95 plus.
Right.
Now, Lynn's usually averaged that, had that in the past. And I thought he had it last year. I mean, even his first 2 starts, I haven't seen him throwing harder than 92, maybe 93. But he's mixing up the cutter. He's moving.
Has tons of swing and miss.
Yeah.
I saw he had like
he's got like 4 different fastballs.
He was like top 10 in Major League Baseball.
That's what surprised me the most, is that he's still getting the swings and miss and racking up strikeouts. That first game against the Dodgers, bases loaded, no outs, the first inning, and I'm thinking, great, here we go. Lynn's going to give up the 40 plus bombs again this year, and he struck out 3 in a row, and he got out of it. and was on his way to a pretty good start. And then that one got rained out with rain delay. Ironically, pitched in rain again the other day. And Matt might have had a quality start if not for that first inning. The dropped misplay fly ball by Victor Scott had him throw probably 10 to 12 extra pitches when he had 2 outs. He would have gotten out of that. I think I've been most surprised by him I'm loving what he's doing with the bat. Now he's not hitting for power, getting a bunch of extra base hits, but we don't need him to
Right.
in the slot that he's getting on base, stealing a little bit, that he's getting the offense going. He had a clutch hit the other night. It's still not as surprising to me because there's not pressure, I don't think, on him to perform. Whereas, Lynn, there is because he was signed to come back. Obviously, Arenado Goldschmidt, there is. So those guys, I think, have at least surprised me. Matt's, I'm going to hold my excitement for him until I see a few more consistent starts, see where we're at in a month. If he stays healthy, we know he can be really effective when he's healthy, but it's just a matter of, hey, is he going to stay healthy? And I want to see his pitch count. Hopefully he can let it loose a little. I know he's only went five very effective innings his first 2 starts, but he's kind of been on that 75 to 80 pitch count.
And you do mention Matt's, and I can't find it quickly on my phone, but I had been saying Matt's since the second half of last year has been very, very good.
Yeah.
And one of our Twitter followers says, not only that, but even when he went to the bullpen in the first half of last season, he has been so good, and he had the numbers breakdown. And so Matt's has actually pitched very well, and it's always been about his health than anything else. He's been healthy,
and no arm injuries.
And
it's been these kind of weird leg things or something.
So he's done that part very, very well. So we have all these worries, but Matt's has been more of the most consistent over the last, season, last half season plus
In
than anyone
effectiveness
else.
when he is
Effective,
pitching. Yeah,
absolutely. So again, from what I've said, is I've expected him to do fairly well, and he's done so. Lance Lynn has been awesome, but I think there is something to it. And people don't want to hear it, but when John Mozeliak talks about wanting to sign guys that want to be in St. Louis, I think that has been proven to actually be a big part of the story of like these guys want to be in St. Louis. It's different, and Lance Lynn wanted to come back, and Sonny Gray wanted to be in St. Louis, and Kyle Gibson wanted to be in St. Louis, and those guys, like, your comfortability to be able to pitch there and somewhere you want to be, and not someplace you're just placed and put there, that they chose to be a part of that organization, makes a little different. And so that makes me excited about the pitching staff. I am more bullish than most on the pitching staff because I think that it can only get better than it was last year.
Yeah.
And the bullpen has been decent as well. I think Ryan Helsley wasn't very good for the one game. Gio has done some stuff.
Gio hasn't looked great.
Yeah.
Another guy that's the velocity's just gone all of a sudden. He's only been throwing like 91. Zach Thompson as well.
I was going to bring up Thompson.
He was throwing 95 plus last year.
He said that it was
mechanics change.
So
way to go, Dusty Blake.
Right. So if they're changing the mechanics enough that he's losing 6-7 miles per hour, maybe we don't want to do a mechanics change. But he has been very good.
Great out of relief of Lynn yesterday. When Palante couldn't get out of that inning, struck out the side. He went 3 innings or so out of relief, 5 something strikeouts, but was still only throwing 91. And my worry with these guys not throwing as hard is, can this be sustained? Right. Like, are they still building up and we're going to see velocity later? Great. Then it's not much of a worry. Or is there like something lingering going on, or maybe something they're already dealing with, but they're just having some effectiveness right now? And if it's the latter, then this is going to be a pretty big issue, I think, later, because I don't know. I mean, if we do wind up making it to the playoffs against some of those teams, you're not going to get by with 90 to 92, 3 miles per hour trying to get guys. I don't think, unless you've got great control.
But if you're in the playoffs, who's pitching? It's going to be Sonny Gray.
Right now, I mean, Gray, Lynn, and Gibson, I would assume, would be like if you were in a 5-game series.
Right. I'm talking about you're in a playoffs. You got to get there, obviously. But if you're shortening the series because you're not going to get to your 5th starter, your 4th starter, you're in a better position than, because you can go on short rest and all those things. Like, I like this team a lot more in a short rest type of period. Let's transition a little bit. Some people say, hey, who are you? We are streaming live to Cardinals 24/7 page, their Cardinals 24/7 group. and Cardinals 24/7 YouTube channel as well. So this is That's a Winner podcast, powered by Cardinals 24/7, has given us a lot of eyeballs to help do that. So they have subscribers and a lot of views, and so they're not producing any podcasts at the moment. So they want to be able to give you guys some something to listen to and watch, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. Travis Swindle says, "What's up, boys?" So hey, Travis.
What's up?
All right,
Thanks for joining us.
send us some questions and whatever you want to talk about. But I'm gonna the news of the day of non-Cardinals related is Jordan Montgomery fired Scott Boras and hired Nolan Arenado's camp, right? Who he's with. I can't think of the name.
Yes, Joel Wolf.
Joel. So is that something? Is that nothing? What do you get from that?
I mean, I'll be really interested to see if it turns into something. I think if it was, Blake Snell or like a little bit bigger name doing this, then it might be a bigger deal. But
He's upset, right?
yeah,
I mean, is that, that's how you
Blake
read it?
Snell should be too. I mean, some of these other guys that waited longer and didn't get, really great deals at all. I mean, Cody Bellinger should be in that camp. Now, I don't know if it's enough for them to, get rid of Boras. I don't know if I assume Jordan Montgomery's been with Boras for a while. Most of these guys, I think, have. But I get it, right? It is interesting that he switches to Nolan Arenado's agent, which I know is also Yamamoto's.
Yes.
And some other, Yamamoto just got obviously huge deal. He hadn't even pitched a game in the majors. So maybe there's comfortability there. Maybe he already knew him a little bit with the connection with Nolan the last 2 years in St. Louis.
Will
I'm
we
not sure.
see him this week? I haven't checked the pitching matchups.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, let me look that up.
Because so like the question is it relevant to Cardinals information? So he leaves Scott Boras because he's obviously upset about what he was signed with and the how long it took and the money he ended up getting or the deal he got. But is it relevant to maybe next year he wants to go in the Cardinals direction because the Cardinals have a lot of 1-year deals that are just kind of pushing things along until you obviously get to like Tink Hence to be able to come up, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
or you find room for Thompson to actually join the starting rotation where he's grown enough, or Matthew Liberatore has shown something else, or Graceffo, those sort of things. So you have these 1-year deals, but Jordan Montgomery could be one of those that could be available again, and he's joining, Arenado's group that he's with. That could be an easy connection. So will we see Jordan Montgomery this week? I say all that just to stall to give you time.
Yeah,
to
we will not.
We will not. Okay.
face him. We will
Which is
face
great.
Zach Gallen though.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we've faced him before.
We have. So how many times do we face him in the first game, or when do we find Gallen?
The final game.
Final game.
Sunday.
How many times in the first games first 2 games will we hear about the Gallen trade?
Oh
Arizona?
yeah.
We're just going
I'm
to hear
sure.
about how Mo is so terrible at the trades.
I don't know if Sunday nights ESPN. I don't know if it's Sunday Night Baseball, but you'll for sure hear it on that. I would assume.
Is it Sunday Night Baseball?
I have no idea. I don't think that it is, but if it were, you would definitely hear it on that.
Oh, absolutely, because they'll let you know that Mo, screwed that one up. Speaking of screwing things up, and I say that tongue in cheek because people love to blame Mo for everything. It's a 4-10 game, so it is not going to be
there you
Sunday
go.
Night
Yeah.
Baseball. Tyler O'Neill, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill
Here
is.
we go.
Tyler O'Neill is leading the AL in pretty much every offensive stat.
Yep.
Home runs, RBI, OPS, I think, to name a few. Is this another one of those situations of, another guy gets away from St. Louis and figures it out? Or is it, we know Tyler O'Neill has that ability. The dude just is always hurt.
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that, right? We've seen it. And
he finished 5th in MVP voting. Like, we knew it was there.
The one almost, and he still wasn't fully healthy that season. I mean, that he got top 5 votes. He didn't even have 90 RBIs because he still, I think, only played 140-ish. So we never got more than 145 maybe games from Tyler O'Neill in the season. So it is like, it's almost laughable at this point, right? That we continue to see this when we trade guys or let them go and they go off. But in the case of O'Neill, I'm probably less frustrated at the front office about it because he had
opportunity,
much like Dylan Carlson, which is a make or break year for him this year. has had countless opportunities the last 3 or 4 years to run with the role and just can't stay healthy. And last year it was a contentious time with the manager, getting
Right.
into it with him. So you had that cherry on top of also still not being able to stay healthy. Even when he came back, he didn't hit well when he was healthy. So, I mean, great for O'Neal. I mean, I like Tyler. I liked watching him play. I thought he
mean-
played pretty hard. And that year, what was that, 2022?
Are you talking about whenever the year
When
they
he
went
went
on the,
off.
the year they went on the streak,
Yeah, that was 21.
and that was a fun
Because 22 was the Pujols year.
remember the Mets series, the
Yeah.
Cubs series, like those series at
every
the
I mean,
end,
every night it
he
felt like he
was-
was getting a clutch hit.
he
for
was
us.
just on fire.
I got to take my daughter. We went to one of the games. It was early on in the streak, like 7th in a row, 8th in a row win, but it was at home at Busch. Well pitched game. We were losing 1-0 into the 8th inning and had 2 outs, and O'Neal hit, a bomb to give us a 2-1 lead, and we wound up coming back and winning the game.
Like he was just
yeah,
unbelievably on fire,
was
like just
great.
crushing it. And so you think about that, like we know John Mozeliak knows, and Bill DeWitt and Ollie Marmol, they knew that this was inside
was in
Tyler
there.
O'Neal. But not only that it was in them, we saw glimpses of it. It's just he can't stay healthy. So if Tyler O'Neal goes and plays 100 and I don't know, has 600 plate appearances this year, is that a failed trade? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that's like, oh, we let one slip away. It's he finally found a way to stay healthy. And it's something the Cardinals had waited for that just never happened. Now, did they trade
And the
him?
irony is we've got 3 outfielders that are hurt right now.
Right. Like we could really use that.
Yeah. We could now we could actually use that depth that we always had too much of.
Yeah, and we had a lot of depth of just mediocrity, and he was a part of that at times because he was just another guy that was streaky. The Cardinals' offense, I think, can be really, really good. I think that the Cardinals' offense can be top 7 or so in all of baseball, but the streakiness is then they can be bottom 3rd, and that's where the problem lies. The Cardinals needs more consistent. Goldie can carry a team for a month. Arenado can carry a team for a month. Nolan Gorman can carry a team for a month.
Yeah.
But
Gorman's a streaky one too.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like they're all.
But his streak is home runs, which is
and
great.
Tyler O'Neal is the same way.
Yeah.
Like all those guys can have the ability to carry the team, but whenever they're all cold, and the offense is looking like it's just terrible.
Yeah. O'Neal, by the way, tie with Mike Trout for most home runs in the majors, both at 6. So 6 of O'Neal's 12 hits are home runs. No other hits besides singles, no other extra base hits. And is leading all of baseball in OPS. He's edging out Mookie Betts, which we've all seen how Mookie Betts started off. So that's pretty impressive. So good for Tyler. Look, I mean, I'm not rooting against him. Now, obviously, when he plays against us, I will be.
Right.
I hope he, steals a base and then is out 10 games like he would be with us when we play him. But, rooting for him, like I have no problem with, I understand it. It's not it to me, like I get more worked up over Adolis Garcia.
I don't get over
Randy Adolis specifically because like we didn't even get
but
anything
everyone missed.
They did.
Everyone,
there was a year, but
everyone, even the Rangers got rid of Adolis and then brought him back.
But the year that we let him go, he hit like 35 home runs.
Yeah,
with AAA Memphis. Like I know the strikeout rate was there,
we did
but
the
like
same way with Gomez, we'd let him go, but we got him back.
Yeah.
But the point is like Adolis Garcia, every single team had the opportunity to get him and they missed on him. And then the Rangers DFA'd him as well.
Yeah, early on when they first got him.
And then they got him back again. Jason Nichols needed more from Tyler than homers and good looks. I guess Jason thought
Hicks might have been a mistake. Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah. I might be a little more frustrated on the Hicks front.
And it sounded like they were close to getting a deal all off season. Yes, it
but
was.
But they tried.
They tried. It just seemed
before.
like it was close. It was close and it was close, and then they didn't get it done. Yes, I would have, but I don't think the Cardinals were going to put him in the starting rotation.
Well, they did, and was that 23 or 22?
Yes, they did. They gave him an opportunity.
Did it but they did it the last 2 or 3 weeks of spring training and said, "Oh, okay, we need you to do this now."
Right. But my point
and then
is,
when he was terrible, they're like, "Why are you telling?" Well, you didn't give him a whole off season, a whole spring training,
right,
to ramp up as a starter. And I think that's why you're seeing him be successful now. And it remains to be seen with him, right? Will he stay healthy?
Right,
because he's had issues.
The same issues. But my point is, if the Cardinals signed him this offseason, or during the season last year, it wasn't going to be a starting
No.
pitcher.
I don't think so. Unless those, and maybe that's why an extension didn't happen.
Right.
Because he was more honest with
wanted-
him, like, hey, I want to be a starter. But would you rather
Because-
have Jordan Hicks or Kyle Gibson?
Okay. If going into the season, the Cardinals told you we're going into the season as Jordan Hicks as a starter, people would have lost their mind.
Or maybe this is better. Would you rather have had Jordan Hicks or Zach Thompson?
Well, I'm Jordan Hicks because he can throw 100 miles.
Right.
An hour.
Well, I'm even saying as a starter. Like if you knew both were either one of these two are going to be your starter. Not knowing obviously now
Yeah.
that you
Well, if you're going-
Hicks was doing.
If
but
I'm going into the season as with either of those pitchers instead of another outside pitcher, I'm upset. And I think
Yeah.
most of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
most of
well,
the Cardinals
that's
fans
why
are
we're
gonna be-
upset now.
Well, right, because everyone wanted one more still because we got Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, and everyone wanted a Jordan Montgomery, a Blake Snell,
Or a trade for Cease.
A
Like go
trade.
get that other co-ace.
Right. And how good that we did not trade for Bieber, as that looking, by the way.
Yes.
But like everyone wanted one more. So if they would have gone into the season with Jordan Hicks or Thompson slated in as a starter, people would have lost their
That
mind.
was a problem.
It would have been even worse than what people already gave the front office for. So the Cardinals knew, I'm not defending them, but this is how I see it is they knew they were going to go sign 3 guys, and Jordan Hicks wasn't going to be one of those 3 that were going to be listed as a starter. And Jordan Hicks probably said, well, I want the opportunity.
Yeah.
And now he's running with it, with the ability to get himself a chance. And he's done well with it so far. Doesn't mean he's going to continue to do so. But he has looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I'm
Jason,
laughing
for
because
the-
you brought up Shane Bieber. It made me think of I saw one of my favorite tweets the other day. I don't know if I sent this one to you, but someone said I'm gonna love something to the degree of can't wait to see the Cy Young Award ceremony for Kyle Gibson when he's the last man standing this year
Oh gosh.
because everyone else has blown out their arm. I
Yeah.
thought that was great. It's been. There was a great, probably 4-minute clip from Justin Verlander that I meant to send you, and he got asked about all the arm injuries, and I thought he really broke it down well, talking about the difference between the game today and how guys could save bullets back then, and now it's like max effort all the time, and if you're not throwing 98 plus,
You're not
you're
gonna
not
get
even
in.
looked at.
Right.
And I thought it was a really interesting, like really educational, well thought out like answer from Verlander about. I mean, he called it. I think he called it an epidemic
Right.
of what you're seeing with arm injuries, and he said the problem is that this is starting in Little League now. You see this issue. It was a really interesting comment that he had. I think it was a couple days ago.
Well, yeah. So my wife is in that realm, and we've talked about. So the MLBPA came out and said that the pitch clock is the problem here, and that's why these pitchers are getting injured. And she's like, "There's no way that's true." And she's a doctor in that field, and she's like, "There's no way. There's not going to be any data that supports that argument." So if you think about that, she said the guys are throwing harder than ever. That is more of what it is. The strain of what's
The max effort.
the max effort more often, and it's the same thing that Verlander has said.
Verlander got into was going to say tangent, but it wasn't a tangent. It was a good point. He was talking about arm slots as well, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
And you get to looking at pictures of like his arm slot versus others. I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Well,
But yeah, it's
because you got to look. There would have to be a data that all comes from all those injuries, because softball players don't have that injury because they come from underneath, right? And they don't have the shoulder, elbow injuries that happen. So are you seeing more injuries from the guys that are up here or up here? Like I'm sure there can be a data that's been derived. Like, are there more injuries up here, or is it more injuries from guys out here? Like all that torque on the elbow, there's going to be all that data. And the MLBPA comes out and says it's all because of the pitch clock, like with no supporting facts. And we need to do something about it. I think the pitchers are saying we don't like the pitch clock. So how can we possibly get around it? Well, and they can just say the injuries are blaming for it with no. proof.
I don't know how you're going to have data to back that up.
Yeah.
Got another great comment here about Sonny Gray. We could talk about that. Tom says Sonny Gray did amazing in his first start as a Cardinal. Yeah, that was fantastic.
That
65
comes from Tom on Twitter, by the way. You see
Yeah.
the little X is for X Twitter. Yeah, so we can find us streaming on Twitter on Facebook, YouTube, lots of different places, groups and pages, all of those different places. Yes. So like he had 65 pitch limit.
Hard 65 pitch
What
count.
did he end up number wise? Was it 65 or
64.
64? And
And 43 of those were strikes. So about 68-ish% were strikes.
and he just looked
Command
different
was
than
great.
the other Cardinals pitchers. He just looked different.
I don't think we've had a starter probably in the last at least 5 years that has as nasty of a breaking stuff as he has. I've read all the articles on the sweeper. Everybody's throwing a sweeper. Cal Gibson's throwing a sweeper now. Sonny Gray's is just filthy, like very nasty. I mean, like stuff wise, I haven't seen hitters look that silly with stuff. I mean, probably since Hicks like first came up with his slider and you know throwing 104, 105. He looked really good, and the control was just great. I mean, 5 hits, no runs.
He looked exactly as the Cardinals wanted him to look.
Yes.
And the things you heard in spring training of this guy is just a professional.
So
and-
cross your fingers and pray for no more hamstring. It was a hamstring, right?
Yes.
No more hamstring injuries the rest of the season. I can't wait. I can't wait to see him pitching with no pitch limit, no pitch count. I mean, he looked fantastic, and that's no slouch of a lineup that he pitched against, obviously too.
Do we know, have we heard his next starts? Will he be a little longer in pitch count? Like
I would hope so.
Like, I mean, but like, will he be
78,
that's what I'm
75,
saying, like,
80,
will
or
they
they're
go
going
up,
to keep building it up by 10, I would assume,
yeah, because
since he didn't do rehab starts.
he did a simulated game though,
Yeah.
right? Which is obviously a different from that, but like at least ramp it up to 80 or so. Like 65 can get away from you really quickly. Like
Yeah.
if it's not going well early, that could be 2 innings. Because you
His
know,
first batter was Schwarber, got to a full count. It was
right,
like
and it's
7
like
pitches or so.
I was watching like, oh crap, like this
Yeah.
may not be very long, but he was able to pitch very well for 5 innings and do exactly what the Cardinals needed. Thanks, Tom, for that. Let me get rid of you. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to need him for sure for the season.
There's a lot that has popped in. So you talk for a second. I'll read a couple. Talk. Say
Let's
words.
see here. I'm looking through team stats and where we're ranking here. It's not looking good. We are 20th in all of baseball in home runs. And most of those are Nolan Gorman and Ivan Herrera. Batting average as a team, Cardinals are 23rd in baseball right now. Yeah, the offense is
The offense is the
struggling,
problem.
man.
So
It really is. Yeah.
on the bright side, Chris is talking about having 2 catchers. Ivan Herrera was expected to be good, right? And I have an autographed ball, and I think it's in the other room. That is signed. It says "Heir to the Throne." You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there was thought to be that he was going to be the next guy to follow up and come right after Yadier Molina. He didn't hit his first home run. Like he played 2 seasons on and off sparingly and couldn't hit a home run. And then all of a sudden this year he gets the one monkey off his back, and he's been, I don't know, second. He's what, tied for first in home runs on the team.
Yeah, he's got 2. Well, I think Gorman's got 3 now.
Yeah, so
yeah.
he's second.
Second, yeah.
Well, no, I think he has 3 now. Ivan.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong.
his second was
Okay.
the other day. Yeah,
The point is,
both were bombs,
oh,
like
the
110 miles per hour plus.
The one last night was like
it was over the
430,
bullpen.
430
Yeah.
something. Well,
Yeah, it's a bomb.
but opening day in St. Louis, it was over the bullpen as well, and they said it was 414 or something like that.
Yeah. So Herrera, so far this season, is batting. Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. That was his 3rd home run.
I was right.
the other day.
Okay.
He's tied with the spring training stats popped up at the top for Baseball Reference. He's batting 290 so far. Only a 294 OBP, which is it's just funny because the slugging's 581 and the OPS is 875. So he's not getting on base, but when he hits the ball, it's a home run, or it's it's an RBI situation. He's already got 7 RBIs as well in 9 games. So he looks fantastic. I think, and we had another good comment here. Why did we need Jason Nichols from Facebook says, why we need Contreras with our obviously ready catcher? I think he's talking about Herrera. I think, Jason, the answer to that honestly is I don't know that the front office had a lot of faith in Herrera making the defensive strides that he's made over the last year.
That's true, but Contreras is not a defensive catcher either.
No,
But I think
which is what's interesting because we knew that Herrera was bat, like it led
Right.
the bat first.
I think the Cardinals have been pressured into a lot of moves lately that they would not have done. They have they have had these
But they put that on themselves,
No,
waiting so
no,
long
you're-
to finally jump into free
You're
agency.
not wrong, but they have been so like complacent for years because they could be with franchise
Yep.
legendary players.
That's why you get these deals where like Fowler and Contreras. Now I think Contreras' deal is going to work out a lot better than Fowler's.
Yes, but they've been pushed because the fans are pushing and pushing for things to happen. And they knew everyone said we have to replace Yachty with someone. So the Cardinals pushed, like again, same question is if you go in the season with Jordan Hicks or Thompson as your starting rotation, if you go into the season last year with Ivan Herrera as your starting catcher,
Unproven.
people are losing their minds.
Yeah.
So they get pressured into another decision. And I think it's going to be fine because Wilson Contreras should hit 20 plus home runs, 25-ish home runs, and hit 75 plus RBI. And then you now
Which is great for catcher.
But now you literally have an actual DH. My problem so far with the DH being in the NL is the Cardinals haven't used it as a DH.
No, they won't give that to a certain player. They're kind of just rotating out.
Right.
Which to some degree is not, you got Brendan Donovan, Tommy Edman when he comes back. You got guys that can play all over.
Who has been a DH since we know the DH as an AL? It's been some dude that just mashes the ball.
JD Martinez. Right. If you think of a true Kyle Schwarber. You think of a true DH. Nelson Cruz was fantastic.
Like those are DH guys. And so what happens if Ivan is being a really good catcher, then Wilson can be a DH.
And you might get more power. You might get closer to 30 home runs with him.
Right.
If he's able to DH,
if he's just focusing on that.
More so DH, yeah.
And
he's got that bat.
More injuries will happen, and you can move around those types of things. It's just, yes, but I've wanted the Cardinals to sign bats. And so if you get one out of Ivan Herrera, then you then have Wilson Contreras as now a bat as a DH, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Ivan can be the DH if he's mashing, because so far we haven't gotten much out of the DH position when it's Burleson. We haven't gotten much out of the DH position in the last few years because it keeps on rotating and guys are just not that spot. That's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's the possibility of actually having a hitter in the DH spot instead of, oh, that guy's not playing the field today, so we can rotate him out to the DH.
Yeah, it feels like the Cardinals are one of the only teams in the NL that does it that way. We got a few more good comments here. Brad Kell says Herrera's changed batting stance has drastically improved his game, something that was unknown when Contreras signed. I mean, if you go look at Ivan from we got peaks of him, I think, in 2022. Yeah. 11 games in 2022, 13 games in 2023 we saw from him. Drastically changed his batting stance. I don't know if it was all of 2023 in the minors. I think it was toward this is where we need Kyle Reese, right? We need to tweet at him.
We've been tweeting. We've been messaging each other. He's
Kyle Reese. If you don't follow Kyle Reese on Twitter,
Kyle is literally DMing me right now, and I said, "We're on live. Why don't you just come on?" Because he's gifting some games. Give me 10 minutes.
He's gifting the minors game. He's fantastic with the minor leagues. But at some point last year, Ivan Herrera changed his batting stance, and it's pretty drastic change if you go back and watch it bats from 2022. It's definitely played in to the success that he has. I think it's more of a timing thing of why he changed it. And yeah, Jason, I saw what you said. Jason Nichols on Facebook again said, I understand, but Yachty trained Herrera from what I've heard. True. Yachty's trained a lot of guys in spring training, right? Remember Carson Kelly?
He didn't train anyone this year.
No,
he was supposed to come.
Yeah, and
touchy subject. I don't know what's happening.
Ollie Marmol got his extension.
He's
like,
yeah,
peace. I'm just gonna hang back, with my team.
Brad says it was before during the 2023 season.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. That's a important note, Brad. And it's been great for him. And Jason, I would say, Yachty's trained a lot of guys in the past. Carson Kelly was the guy that we heard before Ivan Herrera when we thought Yachty might retire 8 years ago. And of course, we all know he was in the Paul Goldschmidt trade, had some good years with the Diamondbacks, and now he is somewhere else. I don't know where he is now. But he
He's
had
starting somewhere, right?
yeah,
just saw his
Detroit
name. I want
maybe.
to say you're right.
Detroit
That
maybe.
may be right. I just heard
Yeah,
his name the other day, and I saw. Oh, it's
back
like
with
oh,
Jack Flaherty over in Detroit. I
I was like,
think
oh,
off the top of my head.
he's there. He's playing. Yeah, I
Now
just
he was
remember.
the opposite of Herrera. He had the defense. Like
Yes.
Yachty, really said like, hey, he's doing good defensively and kind of encouraged him that way. The bat was never there with him. And he didn't stick with Arizona. Obviously I don't think anyone would look back at that trade for Goldschmidt and say that we made a terrible trade. But yeah, we've had a few guys over the years, but it really does look like Herrera could be that guy moving forward. He beat out a throw to first the other day on a double play. I'm like, oh man, that's different. seeing
Yeah.
seeing our catcher beat out a double play
Just
throw.
running to first sometimes. I mean, Yachty. I give Yachty a lot of passes for not running to first,
Well, yeah.
but it
I mean,
irked
when you're
me at
starting as
times.
many games and catching as many
But like
innings,
Nolan
yes.
Arenado doesn't run out to first
Yeah.
either, and it just kills me. Like maybe since you're not hitting very well, maybe we should run to first.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it. But Ivan has been great, and changing his batting stance has obviously helped. I think I was at his very first major league game when he was called up, in and we were in Boston. I think that was his very first game that he ever got in, and I can't remember, was that 22, 23?
2022 was when he first came up.
So
Yeah,
I think that was
10 or 11 games in 2022.
Yeah, so I think that's when he got
11
called up.
games in 2022.
Whenever we were in Boston and we saw him play, and that was like his first game that he got.
He wasn't
and
up long. Cup of tea,
Yeah, it wasn't much, but
had
he
18 at bats that year.
yeah, and there wasn't much there, but he now he's getting a real chance, and you get rid of Kisner, and I really like Kisner, and I think he was a quality glove guy first.
Yeah.
But we need some hits, and Ivan has been the bright
Kisner was
spot.
the captain.
I know.
Right?
That tells you how your team is doing. If Andrew Kisner
Your
now
third
with the
tier,
Rangers,
second tier
I do
catcher.
believe,
Yeah.
it tells you how good it is, right? Like that he's your captain. But
Yeah. Another good comment here from Timothy Coates.
oh, I'm tweeting that right now, and
Oh, great.
to tease people to jump in the stream. So
Yeah,
you can read it.
Timothy Coates on Facebook, and this is a great topic. Let's jump into this. Now that Newt Bar has been activated, where does Brendan Donovan play? I think he's tied with the team in home runs. He is second on the team, tied for second on the team in home runs. He's got 2 home runs right now. This is a great question. I might have tweeted and kind of blasted BK a little bit earlier today from our account because I thought he was tweeting out a lineup that left out Brendan Donovan.
Right.
And my comment was, Brendan Donovan has a 396 OBP. You cannot, like, there's no situation to me right now where he should not be in the leadoff spot every single day. But this is a great question, and it's a good problem to have. Where does Donovan play? And I think the answer is whoever needs an off day that day is where he plays.
This is what I've been
every day.
This is what I've been saying since last year as well.
We've got a true like Ben Zobrist type with
But
him
I've
now.
said this problem. Now, it's not a problem today, and it's not a problem tomorrow. But
it'll be a problem when Edman's back.
That's my point. When Tommy Edman returns, that's when everything gets really, really bad and mixed up and cluttered, because I love Tommy Edman. Look, I got my Breaking Tea hoodie on right now. Tommy Two Bags on right now. Like, but Brendan Donovan and Tommy Edman are the similar player. And you can add Wynn in that as well if you'd like. You can add Victor Scott into that as well. These are very redundant players on the team that there's not room for all that similarity. We need speed. We need guys that have on base, but we also need the guys that hit them in at the same time.
Yeah.
So if Edman is back and Donovan is back, it doesn't make sense to me. And I've been saying that since last season, that we should have traded, and I would have traded, and people don't want to hear, I would have traded Donovan last year or the year before, because you don't know where the ceiling is in he played so well. You get something for him now. Yeah. But now we're here. What do you do? So in center field, Newt Bar is going to play center, right?
No, he's going to play left.
So Victor Scott's going to continue to play center field.
All of
batting 087.
All of his minor league starts for Newt Bar, which was 3.
Yes,
we're in left or in right.
But is that preparing for right now, or is that preparing for the season?
For right now. And so the call down, they sent Pages back down, Pedro, whoever.
Pegas.
I can't. I don't know how you say it. Yeah, he's the third catcher, and the only reason they called him up was backup because you had Contreras dealing with his wrist thing, and they were able to do that because Carpenter had this kind of seems like maybe a phantom IL thing. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but Carpenter's still on the IL, so that leaves you room to not have to send Scott back down right now.
Right.
I do think if Victor continues to hit the way that he is, and certainly if he continues to make mental mistakes, I don't think he will.
I think you
But
can keep him on. He just needs to go to the bench. Look, this is what
I
would
think
do.
Scott's going to be there until Carlson is back.
I think he'll be
and Carlson's
there.
going to be back before Edmund is.
Right. That's what we heard on the radio
Edmund's
the other day.
Edmund's at probably a couple months away.
Right.
I think Carlson, they're hoping maybe this time in May, early May, maybe Carlson's back.
So Timothy's question, let's take it two ways. What would you do, and what will the Cardinals do? What would I do? I would have Lars Newbar playing center field, and Donovan
Right now.
Yes, I would have Lars Newbar
So
playing
before Carlson's back.
I'd play Lars Newbar in center field. I mean, we can get Victor Scott some more time, subs, running the bases, those sort of things. I'm keeping him on the roster. But right now he's batting 087 and he's having some trouble. Let's give him a day off. Bring Lars in, start center field, gives you Donnie in left. That's where I'm going with it. Right out of it.
Yeah.
Then that makes sure you don't have to play Burleson, who's not playing very well. That leads you to be able to have Gorman at second. That has you the ability to play Wilson or Yvonne as your DH, and vice versa for them playing as catcher. That's what I would do right now. Now, maybe they want to slowly get Newbar in there. Just right now, Victor Scott's
Left field's less of a strenuous, maybe.
Yeah, but Victor Scott's not playing well enough to be starting right now.
But the defense is still there. Here's
not though. He caused the game.
Well, yesterday, yeah. I mean, he almost single-handedly
He had
lost.
two errors in the game.
Yeah, that fly ball he dropped caused 2 unearned runs in the first, and then the turn to
look
he could have had a great moment.
Yes,
I mean, he beat out an infield single, and with how the rest of that inning went, if he had scored, we would have gotten the lead or at least tied the game. And so I'm interested to see what they do this weekend, and I really do. So what I would do, I think right now, I'm fine with giving him a day or two off,
because they say
put Newt out there.
They say like young players they tighten up whenever you take them out because they messed up and they get soft. I mean, players today are softer than previous generations and they get upset. Well, it's easy to say, okay, Newt is back. Let's give you a day off and bring Newt in. It's like an easy transition to not be like, you're sucking right now, we're going to take you out. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just an easy transition to say, you had a day off, Newt's back, let him go, and then we can work with it and get him at bats and those sort of things. To me, that's just the easy way, but go ahead.
Yeah. I think for me right now, if Newt gets a start in center this weekend and Scott sits a game, it wouldn't surprise me, especially if it's, against a lefty or something. It wouldn't surprise me. I think though, like if you go look at like Ollie's post-game comments from the game yesterday, I mean, full support, like full support. And now who knows for sure what's being said, like, in the locker room behind closed doors, but Ollie's been pretty forthcoming even to the media in post-game. And we saw that with Tyler O'Neill last year. Now, maybe he's learned his lesson with that and he's choosing not to go that route again. But I think that, I think what I would do right now is one, we were talking about Brandon Donovan earlier. Where we disagree is I personally probably would have traded Edmund a couple of years ago.
Right.
And the reason I say that is, and there's pros and cons, right? Edmund's got more speed. He can steal bases, much better probably overall defensively than Donovan, and can play center. Donovan can't play center. He can play everywhere else, but he can't play center. But Donnie, man, the bat, like the power is different.
The reason why you trade Donnie is because his contract is easier to get more.
Well, yeah, you could get, if you were trying to get a top tier starter this offseason, it would have had to been Donovan.
That's what I was talking about.
That's
totally
what you're
making the move for.
Yeah, it would
You're
have
not
to been
trading Donnie and Edmund because you like Edmund more or you like Donnie more. It's about value and contracts.
Yes, Donovan definitely has more value right now.
Right, because he's so super cheap.
Yeah.
And then you can get in on his ceiling. Like, how many times do we sign a guy for a long-term deal that's not worked out? Aledmys Diaz, Paul DeYoung.
Oh, the early extensions.
Yeah, the early extension, right? So instead,
Cold Wong, that one might have worked out. I mean, instead you
trade out of it whenever people think it's highest, and it may never top out any higher than that. You cash in on it because the contract's cheap. It's easy money. You're able to
Yeah.
get that starter. You're able to get another bat, whatever you need. That's why I said that's the one I'm trading over Edman, because Edman has a more expensive contract.
A little bit older now,
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
all those things. That's why you trade
Yeah.
versus those two.
I think at this point, I mean, we saw it this offseason with articles. They view Donovan as like one of the main guys, especially a leader
And
in
a
the
leader.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
And dude, man, he can hit, man. 8 RBIs in 12 games so far. 885 OPS. He's got some power, but the on base percentage is for me. Like, we've seen 3 years now with an on base percentage of an average on base percentage in his first 3 years in the majors of 382. That is fantastic. Like, we haven't had a true leadoff hitter since prime Matt Carpenter. And Donnie, I want him in every day. So I think what I would do right now is I'd probably still leave Scott in center for his deep. I think he's going to be fine, because overall I think he's been really good defensively. For his defense and his speed, because he can steal some right. If he could just get on base,
Right.
just like throw some
important.
bunts down or get some walks. We saw it in that Sonny Gray game. I think he got a walk or got hit, stole second immediately, bunted over, got home. Early easy runs. I mean, if he can just get on first, it's almost like a double. So I think they're going to give him every chance. I think you start him in center. I think you see Nootbaar play left, or you see Nootbaar maybe spell some days for Jordan Walker, who's also struggling and who doesn't give you quite the defensive capabilities that Scott does.
He's much
So
improved.
I think
yes.
between Scott and Walker struggling, I think you see Nootbaar take one of their spots, and then you see Donovan go to left.
But you're going to bounce. You think they're going to move Nootbaar around?
Between the probably not between center.
That's what
is the tough thing.
But also, I don't think they're going to put him in right either. You know
well,
what I mean?
he played a game in right. I think in rehab. Yeah,
Okay.
at least one. Kyle Reese, if you're watching, you can correct me on that. I think he played maybe one in right. It might have been the one here in Indy. But it's gonna be really interesting. It's a good problem to have, because Donovan, but Donovan at this point, I mean, Donovan's gonna be playing every day. Whether it's first base, like Goldie DH, or like Goldie sit. Like,
here's the problem I have with the lineup. Whenever you start doing this, though, too, you have Donovan, Wynn, Scott, Nootbaar.
Yeah,
those are your 4 guys that can be in any order in that group, right? If you got Donovan at top, Wynn and Victor Scott's going to be 8, 9.
Or since Mason Wynn is getting a day or two off every week right now, just throw Brendan Donovan in there at shortstop instead of Brandon Crawford.
He's not going to.
He can't play any worse there than Brandon Crawford.
Oh, here's the thing: Brandon Crawford, I am convinced was told he's going to have playing.
That is a terrible.
I'm convinced.
If they did that, I'm like, what are we doing?
Mason Wynn keeps getting days off that should not matter. I mean, we're going to get angry.
He got a day off before the day off today.
How old is Mason Wynn?
21.
He's 21 years. I don't even know if that's accurate, but he's young enough that the man does not need days off. And I am convinced that Brandon Crawford was told by John Mozeliak,
you turned 22 20 days ago.
He's 22 years old. He does not need days off. He is hitting very well with a really good batting average. He's getting on base. He's one of our better. He's more of the ones that are getting on base better than everyone else. He's hitting clutch. He's better than I expected him to be on the offensive side so far this year. His defense has been great. There's no reason for him to have days off. I think John Mozeliak said, Brandon Crawford, whatever the hell his name is, you come here to St. Louis, and we will give you the playing time once a week.
Matt Carpenter can lead the clubhouse.
You will start once a week. I think that's literally what happened.
That is terrible if they did that.
There's no reason that he should be having days off.
Kyle Reese and I talked some on Twitter with this, and I get where Kyle's coming from. He said that they're so worried about Wynn getting hurt because there's no other option in the minors. But Jose Fermin, that's the only
Thomas Saggese.
Well, we talked about that. Saggese,
did I say that right?
Saggese,
yeah, Saggese, yeah.
Saggese has been getting a lot of starts in shortstop, but that's a new position for him. He didn't play it much at all.
He can't be worse than Brandon Crawford.
No, but if they've considered Saggese getting starts there, Donovan could play. Donovan could play shortstop,
I think they're
better
worried about
than
his
Brendan
arm.
Crawford.
They're worried about his arm.
but they're putting him in left field.
That's true too. But
I mean, he's airing out throws now in left field. So, like, at some point, if you're going to play him in left field, there's
can
no
play him
reason
anywhere.
he can't play shortstop.
Yeah.
So that could be an option because Brendan Crawford
we
has
can't even
shown
say
he
his name.
became.
We don't even know his name. We don't even know who he is.
It does not. Doesn't he look out of place in a Cardinals uniform?
Yeah,
By the
I-
way, it looks so weird to me. It
And
just doesn't look right.
and he's not playing well. He hasn't done
No.
anything. And
No, no,
again, okay, it's 13 games in.
Yes.
We're being a little harsh
But
on the guy.
I could.
There's
I
no
could,
reason that Mason Wynn should be taking days
no,
off.
and I could see, even what Kyle's saying, they're trying to keep him fresh. They don't want him to get hurt because they're so scared because there's nobody else behind him. Great point. Like I totally get that. But we have a day off like every week,
Right.
this first month in the schedule. There's at least for this first month, there's no reason to me that he's getting.
Yeah, we're not in a
these many
stretch
days
of
off.
16 straight games. So we're
No.
not in, those stretches that
So
do
odd.
happen where you're playing double headers because you had a rain out. You're doing some of those long-term things that do occur.
Yeah. Or if Wynn was struggling like Scott's struggling at the plate right now,
Right.
totally understand why you'd give him some days off.
But you can remember when you were 22 years old versus your body now, you feel great at 22 years old. I can play every day for 300 straight days and be fine.
Yeah.
And like
Off of 3 hours of sleep.
right at 3, he could have drank all night the night before
Now I
and still been fine.
struggle waking up after 7 hours of
Right.
sleep, and I'm drinking a Budweiser. This is probably gonna, one Budweiser's gonna throw me off the whole day tomorrow.
So like he's 22 years old. He doesn't need the time. I
No.
understand you don't want him to get hurt, which is important. We don't want that, but
Let the guys play. If these are gonna be our guys going forward, if these are our top prospects and you're giving them the reins, like fully give them the reins. I mean, that's just, that's where we're at.
and he's the shortstop. He's the shortstop
Yes.
of the
He is
now.
the only guy.
He's the shortstop of now. He's the shortstop of the future. It's go time.
Or make it fun at least. Like the days that you're giving him an off day on the field with Crawford, let him come in and relieve.
oh,
That'd be fun.
he still wants to pitch. He says he still wants to.
I would love to see
He
that.
still wants to. And he can throw 95 plus as
Yeah.
well. I mean, we've obviously seen it from shortstop.
Yeah.
He can sling it. And he still wants to be able to pitch. I don't think he'll ever get the opportunity.
No.
But
I don't want him throwing his arm off.
Brad brings up a question. I hadn't really thought of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
What do you think about starting on the West Coast now? And then a week later, we're going
Brutal.
back.
Makes no sense. And I didn't think about it until he just said that. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to be going to play Oakland
Is that what,
after the Diamondbacks.
is that what's after Diamondbacks? Yeah.
So hopefully they've got some guy though, their closer. That's some young guy that's he's been throwing like 103. It's like their Hicks. I don't know his name. I saw some.
Well, you
highlights
get
the other day.
opportunities on that team.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna hear about guys you never heard of, and that's gonna be great trade bait.
but that's like the only guy I've seen. Like any
Yeah.
highlights from. So get to the A's early and don't lose the lead before the 9th, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not. Oh,
Mason
Mason
Miller.
Miller. Thank you. There we
Brad's
go.
on it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
thanks for joining
Yeah.
us. Yeah, that's the guy they've got. Their closer.
Well, I looked at going to these games last year when the schedule came out to go out to Arizona for this time, but it was too close to opening day because Arizona is one of the ballparks I haven't been to yet. So I looked at going out there, but it was too close to being home opener. Like I would have preferred the Cardinals open up at home and then, like we're talking about, then go out there to the West Coast and do a whole string of games. But whatever. I don't know if the team cares. That's what I care more about. The night games to me don't really matter. Like it's fine for that part. I don't know did the team hate it? I don't know. But you just got to win in Oakland, like you said. I love the ballpark part of it. So the A's, this is the last year the A's will play in Oakland, and they've signed a multi-year deal to play in Sacramento at a minor league ballpark there that holds 10,000 people. What do you think about? They're getting 30. They got 3,500 on their opening day in Oakland. So you got to think that's a smart move to go and get to be able to go and play at a 10,000 seat minor league park in Sacramento. You open up a whole new market. Like it seems smart to me.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other week. Yeah, business wise, probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For the owner, which everybody hates at this point, which I get because he's trying to take them away. But if the city wasn't supporting them, I mean, how is that all on the owner?
Well, yeah,
It's not like the St. Louis situation where they wanted to build. I'm talking about the Rams, where they wanted to build a new stadium and stuff.
right.
Oakland wasn't really trying to do that.
Here's how I think of that is if the Golden State Warriors leave Oakland,
It is sad. Let's say, like, Brad commented again. Nothing about that move is smart. Business wise, I think
business
it is.
wise, it is
It
very
is
smart.
embarrassing,
Yeah,
and it's sad for Oakland A's fans.
but it's
Absolutely.
business wise, the dude's going to make tons of money and more money. That's
Right.
what it's all about. And people get mad about
Well, that's all
Bill
he
DeWitt.
cares about. Yeah.
People get mad about Bill DeWitt, but he's a businessman. He cares about making money. But if Oakland loses Golden State Warriors, they played in Oakland. If the Raiders, they lost the Raiders, and you lose the A's, to me that's more of a reflection on the city of Oakland than it is on those. If three teams leave you, it's probably more about what's happening
Yeah.
in your city than it is about those individual teams. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's different ways to think about that. Like, I don't have too much sympathy if you're losing all three. Like, it sucks for them. But Oakland is not a nice place. I've been. It's not very nice.
The best.
It's no,
The best in neighborhoods.
no, it's not. It's not nice. Like, there was a game I was in town. I went and saw a Giants game in San Fran, and we were in town for a Dave Matthews Band concert many years ago, and there was a football game going on, and we're like, no, we're not. Nah, no, no, thanks. We won't go to that. Like, it's just not an. It's like,
Didn't chance it.
no, it's not a nice place. Like, so I can't wait for the ballpark in Las Vegas. Like, if they're playing the Cardinals, if the Cardinals open up that stadium, which they
It'd be a
did,
fun trip.
I would go. I would be at the very first game, like the Cardinals did in 2012. They opened up Miami Marlins ballpark.
Yeah.
And I went. Like, if they're opening up first game ever and the Cardinals are in it, I'll go. And that's the whole point of putting the ballpark on the strip, is to get everyone else to go. It's not about the locals. And you, again, people may think that is not smart, but it's business smart. And that's whatever
That's
Fisher,
what the owners care about.
John
Yeah.
Fisher, is that right? John Fisher? That's
think
what he
so,
cares
yeah.
about, is that. What else? What else you got?
What have we hit? I don't know. Are we missing anything else? We want to do any predictions for this Diamondback series?
I feel like I'm forgetting something that I wanted to talk about, but yeah,
Pray that Jordan Walker starts hitting the ball in the air.
Jordan Walker, Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado. I think they're all on milk cartons.
Got a couple quotes here from Katie's article on Arenado and Goldie.
About why they suck right now, or what is the like they have an excuse?
Yeah, well, they're just talking about it,
Okay, go ahead.
So Arenado says, when asked about his frustrating start, why he's struggling. It's not what I want.
Half swings are
Yeah.
why you're struggling. Yes.
It's not what I want, and I don't feel the way I would like to feel, Arenado said ahead of Wednesday's loss. I found a way at times, but I mean, I would say the quality of at-bats are not very good. Goldie, on the other hand, cool and calm. Cool as a cucumber, Goldie. He said overall at-bats have been fine, I think, but obviously I haven't hit enough balls hard or played as well as I think I'm capable of. I haven't played great this first week and a half, 2 weeks. I just try to play and perform every day. Just go do my job. He didn't say that, but that's a Goldie quote. Don't really have anything else to say about it. I can't make excuses. I haven't played well the first 10, 11 games. Hopefully the next 10, 11, 150 will be better. Yeah, look, I mean, we're going to need these two guys.
Okay.
You saw how important it was in 2022.
Okay, but Goldie's going to Arizona. Kyle makes a good point here. Kyle Hauser, he makes a good point. He's going to homer twice in Arizona. If he's not hitting in Arizona,
then we got a lot of problems. That's a good hitter's part. Yeah, I mean, it's a good time
he's
for
going
Nolan.
back.
He loves playing.
He hits. I think he has the most home runs in that building's history, right? Like he
has to.
He loves that building. If he doesn't hit in Arizona, we're only there 3 days, right? But if he doesn't hit in Arizona, it might be time for the flag to go up and go, oh crap. Because Kyle Hauser's already calling. Goldie hits twice in Arizona. But Goldschmidt can hit 3 in one game as well. I mean, that's just who he is. But Chris is asking about the bullpen. You can look up you're looking up something. You're looking up Goldie's home runs.
I am.
Yeah.
105 home runs at Chase Field. Yeah, a lot of bombs there.
Is it the most?
Yes,
It's the most. Okay.
yes. I think by quite a lot. So
I'm trying to think of someone else that would be second.
yeah,
Um,
just in just 8 seasons, set the record for home runs at Chase Field.
another team that has threatened to move if they don't get a new ballpark
Interesting.
or an updated ballpark. I can't remember if it was a new ballpark or an updated ballpark. I think they wanted updates.
Next closest was Luis Gonzalez at 95.
Okay.
95 home runs.
All right. I'm gonna table Chris's question for a second. So Luis Gonzalez, that was 2001. So that was the initial. That's when the team started.
Yes.
Luis Gonzalez was there, and I don't know. Was 2001 the inaugural season for them?
I think so.
And,
right?
And they
'Cause
won.
They won
the
it all.
World
I don't
Series.
think anybody else has ever done that.
They won the
with
World Series in
first year of a
2001.
ballpark.
Yeah. So, and so he would have been their player, and obviously hit the game-winning hit against the Yankees in 2000.
He played there from 99. Oh, so no. So 90. Well, I don't know where they were at before 2001. Was that their?
I think they opened with that stadium.
Well, Luis Gonzalez Baseball Reference says 1999 was his first year with Arizona.
So that ballpark, look up that ballpark, Chase Field. I assume then it opened in 99.
It had to have. 98. Opened in 98 in time for the Diamondbacks' first game expansion in 99.
So 99. So Luis has been there.
So 1999 to 2006.
Yeah.
Luis Gonzalez. And
so
he didn't start his career. I mean, his first year with them, he was 31 years old. So
right, but it was part of the expansion draft, I'm sure. Right, that's how he got there because he was
8 seasons with the Diamondbacks. Before that, he was with Houston mainly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 years.
So
Chicago a couple of years.
But he was 8 years with the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
So he and Goldie played the same amount of years.
Yes.
In that stadium.
Yes.
Okay. And so Goldie has the most, and then Luis Gonzalez has the second. I can see that game-winning hit in the World Series, Game 7 of the World Series in my head. Like I can just see.
Oh yeah, the bloop over short, right? Yeah.
What? And that was 9/11 year, right? Or yeah.
Yeah, 01, yeah.
And you thought the Yankees were just going to win it because
yeah.
of everything that had happened. You just assumed, and people listening that are children then, or too young, they don't even know what we're talking about. But
yeah.
All right, let's bring back to Chris's question. How are you feeling about the bullpen so far?
Yeah, I'm trying to find bullpen stats right now.
The bullpen, to me, has been about what I expected. The newcomers have done well. We still have a couple guys that are injured, that got injured, that aren't playing, whatever.
Kenny Middleton was one of the big signings.
O'Brien pitched one game, then got hurt.
Fireballer. He looked fantastic in the spring. Was that a latch strain? That could be a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
It was something with the arm.
What is okay? So yes, I'm liking the bullpen. Gio is concerning.
He's the one that's worrying me the most.
Well, but speaking of that, though, worrying, Ryan Helsley can't pitch more than one day. Like when
he has so far this season. There's a couple days in a row like he's been asked, but did you see all his comment about he's going to be a true closer this year? So they're only, I can't remember, it was a few games ago he said this in the post game, and it wasn't
like they're not going to bring him in the 8th type.
They are only bringing him in the 9th or later. I think he said with a lead.
So is he going to play? He can play 3 days in a row. He can pitch 3 days.
I don't know.
That is a closer, like a bulldog.
Yes.
If the game is on the line, it's my go. I got to go close the game.
I feel like minimum 3 days in a row is what he should be doing if you're going to be a true closer.
Yeah. Jojo Romero has been fantastic.
He's might be one of John Mozeliak's better trades ever, because Sosa's done nothing with the Phillies.
No, yeah, I mean, he did well that year, kind of like when
over there. I mean, he had moments, but Romero's been fantastic.
He was
great last year.
He was a minor league. We put him to the minors when we got him, I do believe, as soon as he came in.
Yeah.
Jojo has been great, and
electric.
Some people have said that he should be the closer, and I think it's good to have two.
He closed
guys.
A lot of games last year when Helsley was hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about the bullpen. I think it's only going to improve as long as Helsley does what he's supposed to do and Gio figures it out. But I feel like there's some other guys that can fill those roles, especially whenever health comes in. What's going on with Ryan? Ryan, right? Fernandez.
Ryan Fernandez. He pitched
Dude,
the other day.
his pitch, whenever the game that they waited and finally got him in, he looked great. His stuff
Yeah.
looked really, really good. The movement.
His first
he
outing
struck
was
out-
a little shaky, wasn't it?
struck
He
out
almost
the-
hit.
No, his first outing, I think he struck out the side.
Oh yeah,
Struck out all three guys. It's like, wait,
he's a hard thrower too.
this is the guy that we didn't want to put in when we
Rule
were
5 draft guy.
Yeah.
I think we got him from Boston.
We didn't
Maybe
want-
another.
Tyler O'Neill thing or no?
No. Rule 5 draft. We picked him up from like they the guys that go in Rule 5 draft are the ones that aren't kept on the 40-man. I
Right.
think. Heim Bloom supposedly
Oh.
probably had a hand on it. Yeah,
Got
you should
it.
go get this guy. I'm pretty
'Cause he
sure he
knew
came
about
from
it.
Boston.
Got it.
Yeah,
Bloom knew.
he looked great. Yeah,
Yeah, but so they didn't put him in when we were up 5 in that one game. Remember, people
Mhm.
were mad. Like, what if we can't put in him here? Where we
for
can we
his
put him in?
debut. Yeah,
And then his debut, he comes in and strikes out the side in a 1-run game or a tie game or something. It's like, wait,
Looked great.
he had movement, he had velocity. What are we doing? After I saw that, I'm like, give him some more playing time. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I've had questions of Ollie, and I think I said this on Twitter. But I think that I know one thing I want to talk about. Remind me, but I think that they extended him so that there's not the questions if the season didn't start very well, but also questions of how he's making decisions.
yeah.
And these are some of the decisions. It's like Ollie's still making curious decisions.
Fernandez does have an ERA over 7 right now. He's only pitched 2 1/3, but he's given up 2 earned runs. And I think there was a game, it might have been one of his early ones, where he almost hit somebody, walked a couple guys, and I think they had to bring somebody else in, and maybe that person gave up his runs. But 4 strikeouts in 2 1/3. He's looked really good. My favorite, probably bullpen addition so far has been Andrew Kittredge. This dude's been lights out and doesn't throw really hard. That's the guy that we signed over from we traded Palacios to the Rays for.
Yes.
Kittredge.
Which
Had an all-star season with them,
Could
was
use
hurt
Ri-
last
could
year.
use Palacios right now. But yes,
Yeah.
He's
looked fantastic.
He's been really, really good. I didn't
1.80 ERA,
I
5
didn't
innings pitched, 6 Ks.
I didn't love giving up Palacios, but he's
Only
very,
given up 1 hit, 5 innings.
He's been very good.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
Because whenever you're dealing with the Rays, you're thinking, what do they know that we don't?
I tell you, yeah. And if he can stay healthy, if Gio keeps going down this road where he's just not been effective, can't get guys out, his sliders look fine, but no velocity. Like he's not throwing 95-ish anymore. Doesn't have anything on his fastball. I could easily see 7, 8, 9 being either Romero or Kittredge,
Yeah.
and then Helsley. And that's not even saying anything for Kenyon Middleton, who was great, with the Yankees last year. Hopefully he comes back and is healthy. Riley O'Brien's a wild card along with Ryan Fernandez of guys, it seems like we've got a lot more solid options for the bullpen this year and guys that have got some stuff. Either guys have got some control and not nasty breaking stuff like Kittredge, and then you've got these flamethrowers like O'Brien and Fernandez, and I mean JoJo, I would put him in there. He can
Right.
throw 97, 98. They look great. Yeah, the bullpen I think has probably been what I've been least worried about this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
that's
Pilates throwing he didn't have a good outing the other day, but he's throwing like the death ball now. You heard about that this off season. I think it's like some sort of change up splitter. It's looked
I
like a
don't
really good
feel
pitch.
like we're giving away games. We can have a shutdown inning after we take the lead. Like I'm not so worried about, oh God, who's coming in and what's going to happen. And that's what the bullpen is supposed to be. And I think I've said last year and I've said in the offseason, the bullpen is an easy fix. You can repair a bullpen with some low level cost effective moves in trades and money. And I think Mo has kind of proven that with what they've done.
Speaking of bullpen, we haven't talked about him. Matthew Liberatore's looked great too.
Oh yes.
And the velocity's there. He might stick in the bullpen. I don't think he's going to be a starter.
Ever?
I don't know.
He's found a niche.
Ask
right now.
me
He's doing really
next
well.
year, and I want to see what we do after these 1-year contracts with Lynn and Gibson. If their options get picked up next year, then I don't know if Liberatore will ever be a starter. If they don't,
Yeah.
then maybe.
Yeah. Kyle Hauser asked about Hicks. We talked earlier about Hicks and that. So if you missed any of the podcast, you can go back on YouTube and watch it there. You can go back on our live streams and rewind there as well. But we will also post this entire podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all those places. It will post later tonight, and we'll be ready for you in the morning as well to listen to the entire podcast again over and over as many times as you want. So we have hundreds and hundreds of people listening currently and watching currently. I want to hear your take on this. I'm going to transition to a question that the Post Dispatch put out. Well, I posted about the question through the Post Dispatch. The Cardinals home opener had the lowest ratings in two
Oh, yeah.
decades, and I asked the question. 120,000 people interacted with our tweet about this. I think that we should get some money for it. The STLtoday.com post had 162,000 views. Our post of those 162 were 120,000 of those views. I think we should get some
Wow.
kickbacks for that.
Yeah.
Anyways, my question, and to everyone watching, listening right now, is this an access to content problem? Like you can't get it on TV, you can't watch it, you can't get a streaming service because of
The
blackouts.
Bally's app
The
sucks.
Bally's app sucks. There's no place to get Bally's. They've taken it off cable, et cetera, et cetera. Or is people not caring about the product of the St. Louis Cardinals because they're a little upset about it? Or is it a combination of the two? I want to hear from people and what they think and what you think. I've my assumption is that it was all a content issue. And if you look at our mentions, it's 99% about content.
Yeah. You're talking specifically those opening day TV numbers.
Yes, right now.
Okay.
It's the lowest home opener viewed in 20 years on TV. People said it's a Thursday afternoon. The home opener has been on Thursday afternoon for as long
Years
as
now.
I can remember.
At least a decade.
Well, no, more than that. I've been
Yeah.
going to home openers
Yeah.
longer than that.
Because they always do the Friday open,
They
off
have-
day in case
Yes.
it's bad weather.
It's Thursday at 3 p.m. has been the start time for years and years. I think I've been to the new stadium has been open now. That was the 19th opening day, I do believe, at the new stadium. And I've been to 16 or 17 of them. COVID throws off and makes it confusing because you couldn't go to the one, but we went to the one when it was a July start. You know what I mean? It confuses all of it. But I've been to 17-ish of those 19 opening days. They've all been on Thursdays. So is it because you can't get the game, or is it lack of give a damn about the St. Louis Cardinals?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I would say it's probably mostly the getting access to it, especially for those around St. Louis. Like you can't watch it on MLB TV. You're blacked out.
Right, you're blacked out. Like
Bally's is not on YouTube TV
no,
or Sling or like you have to
it's
pay
no
for it on its
longer
own.
on a lot of the cable services
Yeah.
either.
It's a terrible situation with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a combination of those two. But one of the options you mentioned are people disinterested? Is there I think and we can talk some about this. I think the attendance is part of that. Did you see the attendance Tuesday for Sunny start?
So that's-
31,972. That Tuesday's reported attendance is the lowest for a Cardinals night game in nearly 2 decades at Busch. The fourth lowest in stadium history. It was Sonny's debut.
well,
and we knew about that
and
like a week before.
31.
I know it's a Tuesday. I know
No,
it's a
but
Tuesday
31
night.
probably wasn't real.
No, well, I went Saturday, I went Saturday. So 2
Yeah.
days, the second home game of the season, and we talked about this because you texted me because on TV it didn't like a lot. Not a lot of we switched. We went over to a different section and got other seats that were in the sun because we
So-
were a little chilly. Maybe ticket sales there that season ticket holders were up. People did not show up.
Yeah, so the question is about that, but I have a comparison that I was having a conversation with one of the fake John Mozeliak Twitter handles.
There's a lot of those.
Kyle Reese is just now chiming in. Kyle, you can still come on, man. He just messaged me again. I'm looking for the details on it because I wanted to save it for the information that was in it. Shoot. I don't have it right here, but they have had it was the lowest second game. So this is weird, right? So the first home game of the year, it sells out. It's a
Yeah, it was
holiday in
packed.
St.
We were there, yeah.
Louis. We were there, and it's always what it is. It's packed everywhere. It's awesome day in St. Louis. The second game can be telling of attendance, and it was the lowest second game attendance since 2013. Okay, so that was over 10 years. It was the worst second day attendance in over 10 years. That's telling, right? That tells, okay, where are we on the season? It was the first time being under 40,000 since 2013 on the second game of the season at home.
Oh, so 11 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's for day 2. Then day 3, and that's what I'm trying to find my other tweets.
So the
I
Sunday,
just found
Sunday game,
I just found it.
which is a rainy, it was a not great weather that day.
Can you pull the attendance for this year's game 3? So yeah, if you can pull that. So the game 2 in this season, game 2 was 37,000 people. Game 2 of 2023 was 44,000 people. Okay, so there's a $7,000 person gap. 2022 game 2 was 45,000 people. That's an 8,000 person gap. We go back to 19 because 21 and 20 were messed up. 44,4. So again, another 7,000 people gap. So the one that I was tweeting with the fake John Mozeliak. I then list game 3, and to me, this was going to give us a move on what are we seeing differently for game 3. And now, was game 3 the 31,000? No, game 3 wasn't the 31,000.
No, that was Sunny
Tuesday.
start Tuesday. I'm
Tuesday.
trying to find this. I'm having trouble.
Because
so the third home game.
Third home game,
So
which
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. So I'll go backwards from
What date was that?
the shoot. 4th, 5th, 6th, so 7th. The 7th was the third home game. And I'll tell you this because 2019 game 3 was 44,000. Game 3 in 2022 was 40,000. And so it statistically usually goes down a little bit. Game 3 was 45,000 in 2023. What was it in 2024? Waiting on Josh.
Trying to find.
Waiting on Josh.
Just, having a hard time finding.
If anyone else can help us before Josh can.
Baseball Reference is just it's giving me a total. I don't need total attendance for the whole season already.
If you scroll down in Baseball Reference, it'll show game per game or something. If you go all the way down, you can go season totals per. There's a way to look.
There's a way to filter that.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll find it. I'm continuing to work on it.
Yeah, so the attendance has been lower, but the viewership is lower. It's a combination of the two is what I think it is. It's a combination of those two things. Because the apathy is starting to set in, but this team is much better than 2023. Like, we all can agree on that, right? Like,
I hope so.
We've won 2 series. Do you know how long it was into the season last year that we won 2 series? It was May. We got to 500 later in this season than we already did last season. The furthest the Cardinals made it 500 or better in 2023 was April 5th.
Ooh.
April 5th. Okay? Cardinals were 500 like a day ago. They made it further already in this season. Like, that's how historically bad 2023 was. So I get it. But also, people want to complain that the Cardinals don't spend money. And if you don't show up to games, then you really give them a choice and an opportunity to not spend money. because, oh, they're going to say, well, we don't have the money because we don't have people in the seats. It's a cyclical situation. If you don't go to games, and they have an excuse to not spend money. Let's just check a couple comments. Attendance is on Mo, according to Jason Nichols. We survive our beginning season gauntlet at 500. We will win, and they will come. I think that the Cardinals did that. They survived the gauntlet. So why didn't
If you
the people
win, they'll come. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they should.
They should have, right? And historically, the attendance is a little lower in before school lets out. That is normal. But the data I've given you says we're still on game 2 way below what we normally are. Game 3, we're still waiting on Josh to figure that out. Game 2, we're still
This
we
is like the worst
is much
Easter egg
is
hunt.
much lower than what it normally is. Also, there is a little info on that, is that the Cardinals started a little later than normal at home, so that you got to sit at home and watch them play a couple series and then come home. They don't always go and play a couple series. Sometimes they play one series, then go home. So
I
there's
have finally found this.
oh, ladies and gentlemen,
I finally found this. Sunday, April 7th,
the attendance.
according to Baseball Reference.
Yes.
The attendance was 39,519.
Right. So I'll read these again.
So since opening day, the Cardinals in this, what, we just had a 6-game home
Yeah.
home stretch.
Yeah.
Since opening day, they have not topped
Besides opening day.
39,519. That Sunday game.
Yeah.
That Sunday game is the highest attendance they've had since opening day.
Right. So the Sunday, but let me, for reference. But see, I think this is important because, like I said, this game 2 had gone down
10,000 less, almost exactly.
7 and 8,000 less from years prior.
Right.
So the attendance on Sunday's game was 39,000 and change.
Yeah.
Game 3 of 2023 was 45,000
Oof.
in 2023. 2022 game 3 attendance was 40,000. That's
They haven't topped 40. They
yeah,
haven't even
but
gotten close to
39,000.
40, really.
39,000 to 40,000 is not a difference.
Yeah.
2019, 44,000. Those numbers are not worrisome to me. Like that, when you look at game 3 compared to game 3s.
But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week was 32,621.
It rained a lot.
31,
It's been raining.
Yesterday was 33,000.
Monday was the
Which
eclipse.
is surprising because
Monday was an
yesterday,
eclipse.
yeah,
It-
yesterday
people-
it rained the whole game.
Yeah. Like that, like I'm not as worried.
Yeah.
Like when I see those things, that's what I was looking for, was that trend.
Let's see after this road trip, you get back to St. Louis, maybe a little bit better weather. I want to see how the attendance is
Right.
this next series.
But if you're giving the DeWitts an excuse not to spend money because you're not showing up, that's on you. Now, if you want to say that's giving you your
Like I totally understand people that don't want to, especially if you're like us and you have to drive several hours and you got kids, you want to take your family. Not particularly cheap, not
No.
on a weekend game. You know, I mean, we're almost 4 hours away, so we're not going to
Right.
a Tuesday game.
for those
that
newly
is
joining
cheap.
us. We're in Indianapolis. We're
Yeah,
driving 4 hours ish to get to a game.
yeah, 8 hours round trip almost. You know, to get there and back to home. It's not cheap. So I get it. If you feel like this team is boring, the offense right now most certainly is. Don't blame you for not spending your hard-earned money and driving. Now, if I was in the St. Louis area, I think we'd be going to a lot of games,
If I lived in the St. Louis
especially
area,
during the week.
if
how
I lived in the St.
cheap
Louis
tickets
area,
are right
I
now.
would get the $30 all you can, like every
Oh
game.
yeah, they
that
get you a
pass?
standing room ticket. Yeah,
I would be on that every
Oh, yeah.
I would be popping into every single game that I could
for sure.
if I lived close. But would you have another game on the books for you? Like I listen, like, oh, I'm coming to games, I'm going to games, and there's people that are going to go to games all the time, no matter what. I'm going to games now because I've already planned games. I'm going to games.
Yeah.
Later in the season, I add more games because of how the season is going. Like if it's a big series event against a team like the Cubs, the Brewers, the Reds, that we need to beat them, to overtake them, that sort of things, I'm adding those games because of that. Like we're going May 4th weekend because we're planning to go. We're going to probably go 4th of July weekend to Pittsburgh and watch the Cardinals
Yeah,
in
we talked
Pittsburgh.
about that. Yeah.
Like because those are just already happening. I'm going to do them. Later in the season is when I'm making judgment of if I'm going to go see them based on how the season has gone.
Like during the streak when we went and saw what was the historic win in Chicago. That was kind of an on the fly
Right.
fun to do.
Because we're going to go to Chicago and watch them
Yeah.
win in Wrigley and break the most wins ever in a row for the Cardinals, and we did.
Yeah, in the past, I would say I've usually bought like a ticket
Package, yeah.
usually one of the weekend ones. As our travel is changing, we're doing active with our church, we're doing missions and stuff, going to Scotland. Things have changed. So I'm like, I've deterred from buying those packs because I'm like, I don't want to buy them and then not get to go to 2 or 3 of the 5.
Right.
So I think we buy more on the fly now. Obviously going opening day this year was great because I hadn't been to one since 2016 or 17 or whatever it was. So it'd been a while. We always go to one of those games when they go to Cincinnati because it's so close to us, right? We're less than 2 hours from Cincinnati. So that's usually a good weekend to go. I think I'm kind of at the point right now where I haven't planned out games to go to, but I'll do more on the fly. Like if they're doing well, we get to September, October. They're
That's
close to a division, race. Like definitely we'll go to a game or like wanting to go to Pittsburgh. I haven't been to that park. Would love to do that.
Jason's asking about the $30. It's a $30 a month.
Yeah, it's like a membership.
It's a membership that they
you get
sell.
a standing room
ticket for $30
to every
a
single
month,
game,
and you get to go to all the home games. $30 a month.
And think about that. Like by the 4th, 5th inning of that Saturday game we went to, seats everywhere.
Yeah.
So you just go sit somewhere
Like
else.
if I was that local that I could do that, I'm buying that. Even if I'm an hour away, I'm spending the $30 a month and I'm going to games. Like
trade that. I mean, gosh, we pay that for MLB.TV.
Right. We pay 100.
You can't get it in St. Louis.
What is it? 150 this year?
Something like that. It's like almost 30. Yeah, it's $30 a month.
It's $30 a month. We pay $30 a month to watch them on TV.
You can't watch it in St. Louis anyway, so just buy that instead and go to the games whenever you want.
Jason asked, "What's it include?" It's just giving you just to get in. You're just getting in for $30 a month. You're just getting a standing room only ticket. Standing room only in Busch Stadium is the yellow lines, and I usually stand on the third base side on the main level.
Looks like it might have gone up this year.
Oh, was it now?
I just found here the Budweiser Ballpark Pass is $39.99.
So up to 30, still $39.
Includes a mobile ticket to all 2024 regular season home games except opening day.
$39.99 a month.
Guaranteed standing room ticket to every game, including high demand and weekend games. Get the ticket on your app. Auto renews each month. And I'm pretty sure you can cancel it.
You can cancel it. Yeah. So like if there's a few games that you want to go to in a game, I think you're right. I think you can jump out of it if you
I'm not
wanted.
seeing a stipulation on that.
But like and especially with you're talking about, there's not a lot of people going to games at certain things. You can go and jump in seats. I'm doing that. I mean,
yeah, that'd be a great way to do it if you're in the St. Louis area.
Yeah. So Jason says how expensive everything is. Like that might be your way to, but they're also cheap right now, too. Like the last couple,
especially weekday games.
Until school gets out, it's going to be cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, the attendance has been interesting.
Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to bring up was the attendance and have a conversation about that. And I think it's an interesting and something to watch, something to monitor of attendance and TV. And I think TV is not everyone's fault, but same thing with like the Pacers. We're in Indianapolis. Like the when you don't get to watch them on TV, you don't care as much to go to a game. So the Cardinals in Major League Baseball are just losing out because they're not making their product accessible, and that's what the problem is. And apathy sets in. So if you're not so keen on what the team is doing and you can't really watch the games very easily, all you're seeing are highlights, and then they're not winning the way you want them to win. Like you start to lose interest, and that's not the fans' fault completely, and that's not Mo's fault completely. It's a combination of all those things together. You can be able to follow us on Twitter at That's a Winner Pod. You can follow us on Instagram. That's a Winner Pod. You can follow us on TikTok. That's a Winner Pod.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere. TikTok, I try and post videos of this. I try and post videos of the highlights, different things. Just try and keep up. We're trying to get TikTok to 1,000 followers so we can next go live there. You can find us live on Facebook, where some of you are watching, Twitter, where some of you are watching, YouTube, where some of you are watching, in different groups. Cardinals 24/7 has us live in their group. Cardinals 24/7
Much
has us
appreciated.
live on a page, on their page, and to their 1,500 subscribers on YouTube as well. You can find us and them on all those sites. And Jason said that he saw it on Facebook because someone shared. So we appreciate
Fantastic,
it. When
yeah.
you share it, it gets more eyeballs to us.
Love the engagement and the questions. I mean, that gives us more to talk about. We want to talk about what you guys want to talk about, what you want
Absolutely.
to hear about.
We're gonna have guests. We had John Denton said he would join us. He couldn't today. He was on a flight with the team to Arizona. So we'll have him on at some point, and we'll have other people's on. And yeah, so we have a link tree that's set up on our Twitter, on our Instagram, all those things. You can get to all of our ways to be able to contribute. You can send us money at any time as well. But if you buy things,
Feel free.
Yeah, you can send us money, but like on Twitter and what's on the link tree, there's ways just to donate if you just want to help us out. But like breakingt.com/that'sawinnerpod has
Great
these sweet stuff. And on our Twitter, there's also, I think I pulled it down so you can see this live, but there's ways to be able to get our podcast shirt that said That's a Winner podcast on it. Any way you can contribute to us as well. We're also looking for one more sponsor. If anyone wants to sponsor for $200, that's it. That's all I need. $200 to be able to be another sponsor to help pay for some of our streaming and some of our costs of things that we go through. So we look forward to next time. We usually try and do on off days or on off day game nights. We don't want to be competing against the Cardinals. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
So
Watch the game.
so like on yesterday, the Cardinals played at noon.
Maybe we do an in-game one of those in-game streams sometime. That
Do you
could
think
be
anyone
fun,
would
man.
care?
I don't know. I don't know if they'd have it on in the background.
I don't know that like I would do that, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, that's true. We're not Peyton Manning and Eli Manning.
Like I'm
Manning
pretty
cast.
boring when I'm watching a game unless it's like the World Series.
Yeah.
And then I'm a freaking
Yeah, we'll do it with playoff games.
yeah. In this year, in 2024.
Hopefully.
Okay, just checking. All right, Jason. Last question. So $40 a month, I can stand which is how I watch on TV. Stuff my pockets with shots. Yes.
It's great. Yeah, just Google Budweiser Ballpark Pass.
Yeah.
It's got all the details on there. I saw your earlier question. It does not include anything with playoffs. So
No.
you will not get anything with playoffs, obviously. But yeah, it's a great deal if you're in the St. Louis area.
All right, that's all I got. You anything else?
Nope. Hopefully we have a good series this weekend. I'm gonna have to try to stay up late for 9:40 start times here in Eastern time. So that's great.
If you missed anything of the podcast, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. They just switched over to something they call it YouTube Music, I think is where now Google Podcasts are going. If you're having any issues finding those and you usually catch us on Google, let me know and I can make sure that's being sent there. You can always go back and watch us on YouTube on a replay. You can watch us on Twitter on a replay. And I think they even go on the Facebook and you can watch us on a replay. We really don't care how you consume us as long as you're consuming us and having, we're not getting money based on you watching us right now.
Just enjoy doing this.
Just enjoy it. We're just getting a little money here and there because people click on our links and buy some of the stuff that we're putting out there. So we appreciate it. For Josh, I'm Ryan. This has been That's a Winner Podcast. See ya.
Sutter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss. And that's a winner. That's a winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. You folks, go crazy. It's a home run. And the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.